We're back and you're still tuned in to the Love Shack. In studio, I did say we are joined by Chandu. He is the author of Say Me Something. It's a self-published book. It was taken from 200 poems that he had, and he published a few of these poems. It's based on depression, but not only depression, but love, receiving love, learning, unlearning, becoming and unbecoming. And before the break, I read a piece from his book on page 20 that said, you came back and you never left. I carried you and our memories all these times. All I needed was to feel your touch. So explain the feeling behind this, the thinking behind page 20 of the book.
Okay, page 20. This is more like someone that misses someone else. Mm-hmm. But you cannot reach that person.
Yes.
All these times you carry them in your head, you see them like they're there, but they're not even there. You understand?
Yeah.
So you miss the times that you had, but you understand like, oh, I won't have that person.
Yeah.
You know.
Are sometimes your poems always referencing romantic relationships? Because I could also put this in someone who has passed on, maybe like a grandmother or mother, who's someone that I love dearly. Is it always romantic relationships, or I can interpret it in a different way or for a different person?
I made them like most of them. I made them kind of open so that you can relate to whoever you're like this one. You can miss anyone you feel like you're missing. Because if I had made it in a love relationship only, so you find that some people are in a situation where maybe someone, as you say, maybe someone just lost their parents.
Yeah.
So you see, when you lost your parents, you can also feel that, okay, I miss my mom, I miss my dad, and all those.
Okay. So in terms of, I read in one book, and they said these days we don't want to feel like solely feel our feelings. We always use substances to kind of like mirror what we're feeling or to subside what we're feeling. And on your book, there's a poem that says, I try so hard to bottle tears, but I always end up bottling them in a glass of something stronger in taste. Which I reference into being alcohol. I think this is where in the book you start seeing the little touches of depression coming in and stress and anxiety. So why do you think we don't solely want to feel like emotions and go through emotions and kind of like use substances? Is feeling too hard for us, like in your opinion?
In my opinion, I feel like a lot of people don't want to talk about how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do we know how to talk about how we feel? Because I think that's also the problem.
Okay, yeah, that might be the problem.
Yeah.
Finding someone who can listen to you and stuff. For example, most kids who have someone to talk to is their parents.
Yeah.
And especially as I'm a black child, I don't want to lie, I never spoke to my mom about how I feel, ever. Yeah. So, and I never had a chance to speak with my dad also. Mm-hmm. So, you see, most of them don't have anyone to talk to. Mm-hmm. At 13, a child turns out to be someone who drinks at school because they're depressed. Maybe somebody bullied them.
Yes.
So someone tells them, you can smoke, you can do this and that. Now they start to intake all these that kind of substances so they can deal with whatever the situation they're in.
Speaking of parents and communicating with your parents, I want to bring it into the aspect of I come from my parents who I didn't speak to, and then I meet this person who also comes from a same situation where they didn't speak to their parents, or maybe they did have a conversation with their parents, and we come together in a relationship. How do you think that will factor the relationship? Because that's what I'm getting here. Because when people bottle up feelings, it's because they can't communicate. So if I'm in a relationship with you, you have a different communication style. Yes. Because of your background and your past and where you come from. And I have a different type of way of communicating. Do you know what I'm saying? So how would you navigate that? How would you give me advice in terms of if I meet someone and I want to communicate, like how do I find a good way to communicate and not bottle up my feelings as you stated on page 26?
One of the first major, I can say, rule or advice I can give you in a relationship, always make sure that your partner is your friend.
Yes.
If your partner is not your friend, then you two, y'all will never talk about anything.
Yeah.
it will just be, we're in a relationship, the kind of thing. But deep meaning of things, you'll never talk about it because you don't feel free. That's why most girls, you find that when they meet their friends, they're so happy because that person knows their secrets. They know everything that they go through. So knowing that makes them so free with them.
So it should start from a friendship.
Yeah, mostly I believe you should.
Then it builds up to something where you can communicate and sit down.
I think that's the right way. I don't know what someone else would think, but I believe that's the right path.
So, still sticking with relationships. Sometimes you come into a relationship because when I was reading the book, there was a part that said you need to let go. Some people come into your life to teach you things. I think it's page 29, if I'm not mistaken, where it talks about seasons and people come and go. What would you say to someone who said, I'll wait for you, I'll keep a space for you, empty seat for you? That's on page 28 of your book. What if I was in denial and I was saying this to you, how would you advise me to let go? Because I've probably been with this person and I've communicated and I've became a best friend like you suggested. Yes. How do I then step away from saying things like, I'll wait for you, I'll keep a space for you, an empty seat for you?
Okay, when you decide to say to someone, you know what, I'll wait for you. I don't care whatever that you're going through. I don't care whatever that you're doing. I'll wait for you. I'll be there for you. That means you're really, really there.
Okay, so it comes from an aspect of I'll be there for you. Because when I read it, it just came from someone who probably me and my ex, it never worked out. Yes. But we still have mutual kind of love. And I'm saying, I'll wait for you. I'll keep a seat for you. You can go and have other relationships and I can go and have other relationships. But there will always be that seat for you.
That one, I feel like that one, for me, I don't think that's what you should do. I mean, once you and someone really, really feel like you and the relationship is not working. If it's not working, I think you should let it go.
Let it go. Let's talk about pressures of society, because I think also letting go and sometimes it's a pressure from society. Maybe your mom really loved that relationship. Let's just delve into the pressures of society. In your book on page 29, it says the process of getting whatever you want. In the process of getting whatever you want, you are going to lose yourself. Do you think sometimes we lose ourselves because of the pressures of making it in society, and which kind of is a slippery slope to sometimes leading to depression?
Yeah, most you find what I've noticed is once a child reaches 13, 15, going up, if you look closely around them, you'll notice that most of them are depressed. Depressed.
And you'd actually think depression starts from an older age, or? I
don't think it starts from an older age.
So you think early teens is when it happens?
Teens. That's why you'll see a lot of them are smoking out there. Yeah, because of they're trying to deal with whatever they're going through. So I think the thing of saying whatever that you are going through and to reach where you want to go, yes, you're going to lose yourself, because as you grow, you don't just grow. Yeah, we have a lot of people who are just growing, just to grow. But then real people who want to make it, they don't really grow.
I wanted to
I can say they mature like wine.
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on you're going to lose yourself and kind of put it in perspective is there a good lose yourself or a bad lose yourself? Because when I first read it, lose yourself, I was like, you're going to go crazy, you're going to go depressed. But then when I read it again, I was like, you might lose yourself in a good way, where you lose your bad habits, and how you said you mature.
Okay, the reason I said you mature is because when you lose yourself, very few people around you will really, really, really feel like, okay, you're still yourself. Some people will be like, oh, he has changed and stuff,
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying a lot of people believe, that guy has changed from being there to being there. It's the process that you go through that changes you, that really, really makes you a different person.
Yeah.
And for most people, it really makes them, it gives them space to become the person they really, really are. So they lose those characters which they had initially, and they become, a new.
What are some of the characters that you have gained and lost in writing this book?
The character, I lost a couple of relationships. I don't want to lie.
Why do you think you lost those? You don't have to mention them, but why do you think you lost those relationships?
Mostly judged because of the way I speak. First of all, like, I don't speak many languages. I speak English most of the times.
Okay.
And bear in mind, I'm from Kasi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's going to be a struggle.
You see? So a lot of people there, they speak Zulu, they speak Spedi, they speak... Yes, and I'm Pedi, I'm proud.
Yeah.
But I prefer speaking English most of the time.
The choice you've chosen to speak English.
This is what I feel free doing.
Okay.
Always. So a lot of people judge you based on that.
Yeah.
So people will judge you. People will feel like you're not enough. People will feel like you don't fit in enough within their own space. So that's why I lost a lot of people, because I prefer to do things my way.
Yeah.
And if you don't really feel like the way I'm doing it is not right, it's okay. You can move to the way that people do it right.
Okay. So you've lost yourself in that aspect where the choices you have chosen have made people judge you and think you're...
Yeah, I kind of lost like a lot of part of me. If I look 5 years back, sometimes I look dead like, oh, yesterday was not really yesterday, it's long back. I've changed a lot.
You've changed a lot. Speaking of changing and losing yourself and finding yourself, we are talking about a book called Say Me Something. It's made out of poetry that talks about love, receiving love, depression, today's society. It even makes references to slay queens. You're still tuned into Love Shack. When we come back, we talk more about this book and to Chad Doe as he gives us kind of like a gist on what was going through his mind, and what are some of the people that influenced the book.
Get into the groove. This is VOW FM 88.1.